Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life you absolutely love. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Amy will be joining us after the commercial break as we talk about an issue that affects roughly about 3 million people a year in our country. We'll be talking about plantar fasciitis. What is it and how do you manage it? Stick around and you'll find out. Remember, health is the first wealth. So you want to make sure and stick around to hear what she has to say. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you have questions that you would like us to answer on or off the air, you can email them directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And as I always say, if you feel stuck in an area of your life, whether it's financially or in your health or in your relationships, get in action. Reach out to us. You don't need to suffer. There are answers and solutions, and there are always ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. Now, let's get to today's email. It says, "Dear Fletcher, my 22-year-old son recently suffered a leg injury, and it severely affected his life and his attitude about life. He used to be very active in sports and life in general. He can still get around, but is much slower and can't do all the things he used to do. I'm worried that he's depressed. It seems he has lost his drive. I've encouraged him to get some help and to go to physical therapy and do his exercises, but he frequently has an excuse. I'm not sure how to help him. It breaks my heart to see him go through this. I know it's challenging for him, but I believe that if he puts his mind to it, he could manage his situation and learn how to get out there and still live life to the fullest. I just don't know how to make him believe that. Do you have any advice?" Signed, Concerned Mom. All right. Hey, Concerned Mom, thanks for reaching out. Strong people ask for help and advice, so way to get into action and ask. Thanks for sharing your story. This discussion is going straight to the power of beliefs. And we're going to define what a belief is in just a minute. But first, let me tell you about a guy named Carl Joseph. Carl was born with one leg, and that would stop a lot of people from doing a lot of things in life. I mean, come on. That would be a heck of a reason not to get involved in so many different things, right? You'd always have an excuse. And we would all understand if someone born with one leg said, "I can't play football, I can't high jump and track." But Carl Joseph didn't believe that. In fact, he believed he could do it and he could do it all. And he did. He didn't use crutches or wear a prosthetic, and he played football during his high school years. Not only did he play, but he made the all-state defensive lineman. The local newspapers said he ran so smoothly and so effortlessly that when you watched him run, you could hardly tell he was missing a leg. You can see some of the old footage of him on YouTube. It's remarkable. He's actually running down and sacking the quarterback. It's pretty cool. He also played basketball and could dunk the ball with one leg. And then in track, he could jump 5 feet 10 inches. Talk about incredible. And it doesn't stop there. Carl was the recipient of a 4-year athletic scholarship to the University of Pittsburgh. And when Carl was asked how he was able to accomplish this, he said it had everything to do with the mind. He said, "My mind told me I could do things, and I just went and did them." You see, Carl believed. And it's important to understand what a belief is, because if we understand what it is, we can create new beliefs. We can discard old beliefs. So what is it? Well, the dictionary says a belief is simply a feeling of certainty. It's nothing more than that. And the stronger we feel certain about something, the stronger our belief is. For example, if you believe that you can't learn a language or learn how to draw or paint, then chances are you're not going to learn those things. Or maybe you believe you can learn them, but you won't excel. Then you'll be able to learn and you won't excel. Maybe you have a belief about life. Maybe you believe life is unfair. And if that's and if that's the way you see it, then you're going to begin seeing unfairness everywhere. It's always going to be showing up for you. Each time you see something you think is unfair, your brain files that away as evidence to support your belief that life is unfair. Now, sometimes we're in such a pattern of these strong beliefs that it's hard to set up a new belief. And so what you have to do is borrow someone else's beliefs. Let's look at a coach, for instance. When players turn out for practice at the beginning of a season, and maybe they're new to the sport, they may not believe that their team is any good. But the coach believes they can win because he has a lot of evidence of taking a new team and molding them into dedicated and skilled players. So the players have to trust in his belief. They have to borrow his belief until they begin to see evidence of their own to build their belief, until they begin to see evidence that creates a sense of certainty that they can, in fact, play well, that they can all play well together, that they can compete effectively, and that they can even win. So what there is to do is to help your son borrow a belief about what is possible. If he sees others overcoming, then he can take that evidence and begin to build and support his own belief system that all sorts of things are in fact possible. In 2011, I completed the Coeur d'Alene Ironman triathlon. That was a huge accomplishment for me. It was a 2.4 mile swim, it was a 112 bike ride, and then a 26.2 mile run. That's a lot of exercise for one day. And like I said, it was a big deal. But I have two legs and I have two arms. I have my feet and both my hands. So you know what was really incredible? What really blew my mind and was really inspiring? It was the fact that there were people swimming, then biking, then running, that were missing one arm. Can you imagine swimming with one arm? And I also was running alongside people who only had one leg. And there were even people who completed it missing both legs. And then I distinctly recall when I witnessed several people who they had both their legs and both their arms, but they were completely blind. They had to do the swim tethered to another person. They rode a tandem bike to complete the 112 mile bike ride. And then they ran again, tethered to somebody who was running with them. This blows my mind. Imagine the level of trust they have, the faith they have, the courage. They have incredibly strong beliefs, strong feelings of certainty that says they can do whatever they put their mind to. So, our life and what we do or don't do with it is governed by our beliefs. I don't know to what extent your son's injury limits him, but I have seen people do what I thought to be impossible. And what's so cool is their belief in what is possible affects my beliefs about what is possible. So get your son around others who have empowering beliefs, empowering feelings of certainty, and help him to look for the evidence and see the evidence. As Carl Joseph said, it's all in the mind. I wish you and your son all the best. Stay in action. I believe in you. All right, we're going to go to a commercial break, but we'll be right back and we'll get medical with Amy right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. It's that time where we visit with Amy. Yes. Hello, Amy.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Yes, you as well.
It's always good to see you.
Every day.
All right, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, I think we got inspired for this one on one of my medical journals that I get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, well, it sounds made up, so what is it?
So your plantar fascia, everyone who has a foot, you just talked about your story, some people don't have a foot, obviously, but if you have a foot, you have plantar fascia. So fascia is a term used in medicine, also in construction. People, I think they call it fascia in construction, but it's spelled actually the same way. Mm-hmm. And in a house, it's underneath the overhang, I think, from the roof.
Yeah.
So in medicine, fascia is a fibrous structure that is usually, it's either used to create support, like in this case, or it will create boundaries. So in your abdomen, you have fascia, and it kind of determines the different planes in your abdomen. But in the foot, the fascia actually makes your arch. So it's it's a white fibrous tissue, and it connects to your heel, and then it makes a little band, and then there's a little connection to each of your toes. I mean, not quite to the toe, but it basically looks like it's solid, and then it branches out. So that's your plantar fascia. So if you reach down your foot and were to touch along your arch, and you can kind of feel that kind of fibrous stuff, that's your plantar fascia. So plantar fasciitis means that there is an irritation of that plantar fascia.
Got it.
Plantar is the bottom of your foot.
Plantar is the bottom of your foot.
Right.
Okay. And so what types of symptoms do people come in with?
So it's the most common form of heel pain that we see. So basically, if somebody comes in they're on my schedule and it says heel pain, or they mention heel pain, it's very likely that it's going to be plantar fasciitis. It's one of the most common things that causes heel pain. So people usually describe having pain, their worst pain is the first step in the morning. It's usually on one side, only on one foot at a time, luckily. So you would just say like, oh my gosh, my first step in the morning, my right heel really hurts. Or after I've been in the car for a while and then I step, it really hurts. Or if you've been resting for a while, that's usually the pain that they have. And it's kind of right in front of your heel bone is where the pain is.
Okay. And so what causes this?
So the plantar fasciitis is really mostly like a degenerative condition. So as the fascia, there's tension there, obviously, and it's connecting to the heel bone and then connecting to the front. So there can be just wear and tear over the years. And then say you have some of the risk factors, like if you have really high arches, or even people with flat feet, or people that have really tight ankles where they don't have that flexibility. Or if you're a runner, they can get this. So it's it's actually degenerative changes of the plantar fascia.
So it's in a state of degeneration?
Yeah, like where it gets torn and irritated and thickened.
Got it. Are one group of people prone to this, or what are the risk factors for this? For who?
Well, yeah, so the risk factors would be people that have less flexibility at the ankle, where they're unable to kind of put their foot up very well. People that are heavier, people that tend to stand for long periods of time because of their job or just in their life. Runners have it also would be at risk, and people with high arches, or people that pronate their feet. And pronating means that your foot kind of turns in when you tend to stand or walk.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, about 1 in 10 people will have symptoms of this in their lifetime. And it affects men and women mostly equally. Women are a slightly higher chance of having it.
Okay. It seems like runners, I'm surprised that runners would get it. It seems like they're like lots of flexing, but yeah. I guess it's a lot of pressure or pounding or something.
Yeah, I've never seen a runner with it actually. I tend to see, like middle-aged, slightly overweight people that maybe don't have the flexibility and strength.
Okay.
So.
Do you see this a lot?
I do see it a lot. Again, if heel pain's on my schedule, then that's what I'm thinking of, and it's the most common thing that causes heel pain. There are a few other causes, but not that many. What
about kids? Is this something you see in kids, or is this reserved only for adults?
Yeah, so children, because this is a degenerative condition of that fascia, kids don't get it. I've never seen it in a child. I mean, I guess it's possible, but it would be very unlikely.
So like people in midlife?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, 40 on up.
40 on up, okay.
Like how we are.
All right. We fall into that category?
Yeah.
How does somebody know that they have plantar fasciitis?
Yeah, so if you're having heel pain and this describes you, or it's first thing in the morning is your worst pain, then that's likely plantar fasciitis. So it's diagnosed mostly just based on, a doctor listening to your symptoms and then doing an examination. So again, there's a pretty specific pattern to this pain. Usually it gets better as you're walking. It might get worse again by the end of the day, but usually it's those first steps in the morning, and then as you kind of walk, it gets better. Mm-hmm. And then on physical exam, right in front of the heel, kind of right where the plantar fascia inserts, people are quite tender right there. You can do an ultrasound to look for thickening of the plantar fascia, but I've never done that. I've not seen that be done much. And then an x-ray also could be used, but that's not very oftenly or commonly done either, because you can have a bone spur at your heel, but it doesn't mean you have plantar fasciitis.
So, and then during the day, the pain can go away?
Yeah.
And why is that? It's just things are getting warmed up in there?
Yeah,
or?
it's kind of loosened up a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
the main source of the pain is just like things are tight then?
Well, no, there's thickening and degeneration and tearing, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. All
I
right.
was trying to figure out why it goes away during the day.
Yeah, because those first steps, you are the tightest. Like
Oh.
all your muscles and everything, all around the ankle and the foot and calf are tighter.
Got it.
too. Yeah.
Okay. Is this a good time to take a break?
Sure, we can take a break.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back with more about plantar fasciitis. Stay with us. Hey everybody, we are back. Welcome back to Live It Up. We're here with Amy and we're talking about...
Plantar fasciitis.
All right, so we've talked about kind of what it is, and now tell us what can be done to make this issue go away if you find that you've got it.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that over a few other questions, but about 80% of people will have improvement within the first 12 months. It does take a while to go away. Treatment usually includes, you can do ice massage on the area, you can take anti-inflammatories like Aleve or ibuprofen if it's safe for you. There are some specific stretches that you can do that you can find on the internet. We used to think it was just the stretches of the calf muscle, but there's actually some stretches you can do kind of your foot and of the plantar fascia. You can also do heel padding. Those are some things you can do. Orthotics, when I was reading about this, orthotics, even so store-bought orthotics and custom orthotics, at least in this one study, actually were equal as far as relieving pain for this condition. So basically what the store-bought orthotics do is it provides a good arch support, and that kind of takes a bit of the pressure off that plantar fascia.
So there may not be a need to get custom orthotics.
Right, you could get like Superfeet or something like that at the store. Night splints are something I've seen be used, but there's really not any evidence to show that helps, because basically what a night splint does is it kind of keeps it extended during the night rather than letting your foot kind of be relaxed, but that has not really been shown to help.
Got it. What about just
Yeah.
those little pads for your heels that you can put in your...
You could, so that basically, because it would elevate the heel a little bit and do some heel padding, yep. But then it'd be better actually to get like an orthotic, like a store-bought orthotic or
Okay.
insert.
All right. You mentioned ice. Ice is a common way to treat it?
Yep, you can use ice. You can do like ice massage, where you can have a water bottle that's frozen and kind of rub your foot over that, or just ice the heel.
All right, I got a question for you.
What?
It's not on their questions here.
Oh, okay.
But so I'm just trying to get my mind around. So it's degenerating. This pain is as a result of degeneration that's happening in there. So during the healing process, what's happening there? Are you just trying to take off tension so that it has a chance to restore itself?
Yeah, so you would modify either with orthotics, modifying activity, icing, that kind of stuff, to have that area that's irritated, to have that irritation calm down. The reason that it's technically not inflammation, but that's kind of a scientific, we tend to use inflammation for specific reasons in medicine. This technically is not inflammatory, but
Yeah.
you could think of it as inflammatory.
So but the treatments,
things.
though, are just a way to allow the body to heal. Because
Yeah.
if you don't do anything, you're just constantly
Right,
re-injuring or irritating it.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that's ever invasive that's done for people who have like a severe case of this?
Yeah, so you can get a steroid injection. It's one of the most painful steroid injections you could have, though, because you go
Really?
in the side of your heel. That's a really sensitive area. So most people that have had it are just like, oh my gosh, it really hurt. So we don't tend to do it very much. It hurts, but also there's a slight risk of whenever you inject a steroid, it can cause some tendon weakness, and you could actually cause that weakness to be in the plantar fascia. So anyway, steroid injection can be done. I learned this in my reading and preparing for this, that Botox injections are actually more beneficial than steroid injections. So, and don't ask me necessarily why, I don't really know, but
Okay.
I mean, the Botox was helpful too. You know, Botox is expensive, insurances have to approve it. I don't know that it's an insurance approved indication for Botox.
Got it.
Yeah,
Let's say somebody thinks they have it
yeah.
and they don't want to go to the doctor for whatever reason. Is this something they can just treat at home, or do you recommend going to see a physician?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I don't think it hurts for this condition. There's really not anything dangerous that's going to happen. So I think if you Googled it or went to Mayo Clinic or WebMD or Medscape, those are all options that you could, or familydoctor.org, and look at that. There are videos for the stretching. You could get the orthotics. You could figure out, like, what do I do that makes it hurt? So I know this one woman who was doing Zumba, and she really had to stop doing Zumba, or she couldn't jump anymore at Zumba. She could still do Zumba, but not any jumping. So with modification of your activities, making sure you have good arch support, ice, maybe some anti-inflammatories if it's really hurting, then it should just get better with time. But obviously, if you're not sure or it's really hurting, seeing your regular doctor, your PCP, or seeing a podiatrist, those would be the people that would see it. I mean, very rarely a podiatrist will do surgery on this. I've never seen that be done, but it is an option.
Okay. And so you kind of answered my next question, was should people stop exercising if they are having this issue?
Yeah, I think if you put an orthotic in and it's still really hurting with that type of exercise, even if it's walking, you probably shouldn't. And then say you're a walker, but it doesn't hurt when you're walking, you may want to modify that a little bit. Like say you like to walk for an hour, maybe cut that down to a half hour for a couple weeks to calm things down.
Yeah, because that'd be a bummer to have to stop exercising.
It
or
would.
walking.
So I mean, a lot of times you just can modify it, just reduce it, and then maybe like during a 2-week period, you reduce your activity, use some ice, anti-inflammatories, and hopefully it will start to get better.
Yeah, or maybe it's going to be another opportunity to work on a different part of your body, your
That's true.
arms, your legs, your whatever, your
Right, you could do
your core.
weights.
Yeah. All right, good. What else we got here? Well, yeah. Another question is, how do we prevent it?
Yeah, so some of the risks, like I talked about, being overweight, that can be a risk. Standing on your feet quite a bit, but sometimes you don't have, there's something you can do about that. I think wearing shoes that have good arch support. So I see a lot of people that work on their feet, they're on their feet like 8 hours a day, and they maybe have like shoes without any arch support. That is not a good idea. So you really should get like an insert at the store if you're going to be on your feet a lot, and use shoes with good arch support, especially also if you tend to pronate, where again your foot goes in, you may want to do that as well. And then making sure that, just like we talk about in all of our shows, as people get older, which is a condition that happens when you're a little bit older, is you want to make sure you maintain your strength and flexibility. So having good flexibility at your ankle, having good flexibility at your feet. You can actually stretch out your feet. There are some yoga positions, and you could look online about how to stretch your feet or how to stretch your plantar fascia. Then that can really help prevent.
Got to say, that's something that I never think about, stretching my ankles or my feet.
Yeah. And one of the yoga positions, like if you come down and try to sit on so your feet are like this, your toes are on the ground, then you try to sit on your heels, like kids do, it really stretches your feet out. I mean, it can actually hurt. When I try to do it, at least it hurts. So something like that on a regular basis, especially if you have feet that you feel like are a little bit fussy, that maybe hurt sometimes, it's a good idea to keep everything in your body stretched out. Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we're out of time.
We are.
Okay, so you know what it's time to do now? It's time to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You have something to offer this world, and we believe in you.